What's up everybody, I'm Dude Meister, and today we're going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So we're actually going to learn today on my 2020 Gixxer 750. I've had this bike for about a year now, and this is my third bike. I wouldn't say that this is a beginner bike, this is more of a intermediate bike. If you want a beginner bike, I would recommend starting on a 300, 400, something like that, just to kind of get your bearings and learn how it feels to be on a motorcycle, feel the power of those, because when you're first getting on a motorcycle, it's going to feel like a lot of power regardless. So you want to start on something smaller, so that way you can just learn without being too scared or having the bigger bike do something you don't want it to do because they're less forgiving. So before we start actually riding the bike, we'll kind of go over the basic functions of what you need to know that your bike does, the different buttons, the levers, things like that. So we'll go ahead and start on the right side of our bike. Over here we have the front brake. This is going to be about 70% of your braking power. You have to be pretty careful when you use this one. They'll teach you in the MSF course to feather the brake, which is usually about 2 fingers, and just gently apply it rather than grabbing it full force and just yanking on it, because you can flip over, you can crash, do things like that if you're pulling it too crazy. So you want to be careful with that. You have your throttle, of course. This makes you go vroom vroom. You have your kill switch. My bike has these different switches right here. Basically just let me know my mileage, the time, temperature, things like that. And then your actual ignition button. If we go down here, we'll have our normal peg and our rear peg. So if you have somebody on the back of your bike, this is your rear brake. This is going to be 30% of your braking power. So usually in most circumstances, I would only use this if I'm doing an emergency brake. I'm pressing the front and the rear if I need to stop quick, or you can use them all the time. It doesn't really matter, it just depends on what you want to do. And then of course your exhaust. If you come to the left side of your bike, we'll have the clutch lever right here. This is going to be able to kill the engine, shift gears, things like that. You'll have your high beams, your pass lights, and your hazards. And then we'll have our blinkers here. It's usually just one toggle. You either do left or right, and when you turn it off, just press it in. Some bikes, like the Harley or the BMW, I think some Triumphs as well, will have them on both sides. So you'll have the left blinker here, right blinker here, and they're automatic turn-offs like a car would. And then you have your horn. And then you have your spot for the key to go into the ignition as well. Down below we'll have the same thing. We'll have the pegs, both pegs here, and we'll have our gear shifter. For I want to say about 100% of bikes, the gears are going to be 1 down, neutral, and then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th going up, depending on how much gears your bike has. Mine has 6 gears, so it would be 1 down and 5 up. And we'll kind of go over that in a second of how that looks whenever you're shifting. So we'll go ahead and jump on the motorcycle right now. So once we're on the bike, you always want to go ahead and kick the kickstand up. And if it's in neutral, you'll be able to tell most of the time off your bike, it'll have either a green dot, or mine has the green end there showing I'm in neutral. And if you don't have that, the way you can know is that your bike will be able to roll freely, either backwards or forward, without any resistance. If it's in gear, like I'm about to show you right now, whenever you let go of the clutch and you try to move, your bike will lock up and it won't let you move. That lets you know that you're in gear. I'll go ahead and go back in neutral. So to turn on the motorcycle, you want to make sure you have your key in the ignition. You go ahead and turn on to the start. From here, you can go ahead and flip the kill switch to the on position. You'll hear the bike priming, get ready to start. And for some bikes, you can go ahead and just press the start button and the bike will turn on. For mine, and for I believe a lot of other ones, you'll have to pull in the clutch as well. So you pull the clutch in all the way, and go ahead and press the start button, and the bike turns on. So once it's on, if it's in neutral, you can go ahead and let go of the clutch and take your hands off and just kind of sit here getting ready to ride or do whatever you're going to do. If you turn on your bike in gear and you let go of the clutch, it will stall out. So if you let go of the clutch without knowing that it's on, it's going to do a jerk motion and the bike will cut off. That's what it looks like. So that's just stalling out. Doesn't really hurt the bike any. It happens to everybody, so don't be embarrassed if it happens to you when you're learning how to ride, or just if it happens in general whenever you're trying to turn on the bike. So to get around this, to turn it back on, you just pull the clutch back in, start the bike back up, and then you can go ahead and put it in neutral again. Okay, so now that we have the bike on, we'll go ahead and put it in first. So we're going to pull the clutch all the way in, and then we'll kick down. And when you hear the bike kind of drop into gear like that, then you know you're in first. Some bikes are going to have an indicator like mine does right here, showing you what gear you're in at all times, so it makes it a little bit easier. So once we're in gear, we can kind of start feeling for the sweet spot, or what they call the friction zone. This kind of gets you moving on your bike. You just gently release the clutch until your bike starts rolling a little bit. Once it does, you can pull the clutch back in, kill the engine, roll yourself back. Kind of show that again. So you'll gently let out on the clutch until your bike starts moving. You can walk it a little bit. When you want it to stop, just pull it all the way in again. You'll kill the engine and walk backwards. You kind of want to do that a couple times, just to kind of get a feel for where your bike likes to pull, where that friction zone is. Because that friction zone is going to be very important whenever you actually start moving and you start getting the throttle. So from here, you can actually get rolling with just your clutch without giving it any gas. So for this, my wrist is going to be neutral. I'm not going to give it any twists. I'm just going to go all off the clutch. So from here, I'm just going to let go of the clutch. Slowly start walking with it. And once I start rolling a little bit more, just keep letting it go really slowly. Then you can pick your feet up off the ground. Just keep letting it go. Now my hand's completely off the clutch and I'm rolling. I'm not giving it any gas. I'm just basically just rolling off clutch. I'm going about 7 miles an hour, and that's how my bike rolls. So I'll go ahead and just roll around a little bit like this. Do this a few times, kind of get used to how the bike feels whenever you're rolling. You don't have to give it any gas. Just kind of do this. And when you want to stop, just go ahead and pull that clutch all the way in. Give it a little bit of front brake. Get your feet down. You can go ahead and put it in neutral, or hold the clutch back in and just wait here until you want to try again. So the next step, after you get rolling, you do that a few times, you want to give it gas while you're rolling. So we'll kind of do this in small increments. So from here, we'll get the bike rolling again, just off the clutch, not giving any throttle. Just let it roll, pick your feet up. Remember, this is all clutch. Let go of the clutch completely. Now you're rolling. Once you're rolling like this, and you're not giving any gas, you can go ahead and roll on throttle just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean you really want to just like barely twist your wrist. Just barely twist it. And now we can pick up speed. And now you're riding around. So this is a good way to learn how to actually pick up speed without making it too overcomplicated. So we'll go ahead and pull back over here. Go ahead and pull the clutch back in. Use the front brake. Slow down, put your feet down, and you're good. And we'll pop it back in neutral. So a big part of it is really just finding your friction zone, finding that, letting it go at the right time so your bike can start rolling without cutting off. And once you're rolling, go ahead and just give it a little bit of throttle, and then you should be able to roll. So in most circumstances, you won't be able to take off like that because it's too slow if you're at a stoplight or you're actually on the road. Once you find that friction zone at about like wherever your bike is at, instead of waiting until after you're rolling off the clutch, start giving a little bit of gas just like you did earlier when you're rolling already. Just barely twist your wrist while you find the friction zone. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like right here. So I'll go ahead and pop it back into first. So find that friction zone, give a little bit of gas. I'm giving it a little bit of gas right now, still letting it out. And then once you start rolling, you can let go of the clutch. You're on the throttle, and now you're rolling. So I'll go ahead and stop right here. We'll try that again. So let on the clutch very little, roll on the throttle, keep letting it go of the clutch, and then you can let go of the clutch, now you're rolling again. Once you get this far and you take the steps to get to this point, just practice this over and over and over. It's all about repetition when you're riding a motorcycle and you're learning. Just to remember how everything feels. You want to have the muscle memory to be able to do it without really thinking about it. So yeah, just go ahead and do that a few times. I'll turn around right here real quick. Alright, so now we're going to go over how to shift. Now that you are able to roll around and ride around in first gear, it's time to go into second gear, third gear, whatever you want to do after that. So basically the motions you're going to do for that is a 3-step move. So let's say you're in first gear, you're going to be rolling on the throttle like this. Your hands are not going to be on the clutch yet. But as soon as you want to go into second gear, you'll roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, and then kick up on gear. So remember, when you shift, first gear is at the bottom, then it's half click to go to neutral, then it's a full click to go to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or whatever you have. So from first to second, you need to kick all the way up to get past that neutral, and you'll go into second gear. Roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, and kick up or down into whatever gear. But in circumstance, you would kick up into second gear. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like while you're riding. Okay, so I'm about 15 miles an hour. I can switch to second gear. So what I'll do now is I'll roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, kick up, let go of the clutch, roll on the throttle again, and now I'm in second gear. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn around real quick, and I'll show you what that looks like in third gear. So I'm in second now. If I want to go to third, I'll do the same thing. I'll get off the throttle, pull in the clutch, kick up again, let go of the clutch, roll on the throttle. Now I'm in third gear. So once you kind of feel comfortable with shifting up, then we can start learning how to shift down. So shifting down would be exactly the same as shifting up. The only difference is, instead of kicking up with your foot, you're going to be kicking down. So right now I'm in second gear. If I want to go to first, I need to make sure I'm going the right speed for first, or else my bike will jerk really hard, or in some circumstances, if you don't have ABS on your motorcycle, you can lock up your wheel and crash that way, and you don't want to do that. So anytime you're downshifting, whether you're coming to a stop or anything like that, please make sure that you're in the right gear for it. Right now I'm at second. I'm going 10 miles an hour. This is a good speed for first for me. So the way I would do that is I would roll off the throttle, pull in the clutch, kick down to first, let go of the clutch, get on the throttle again. Now I'm in first. And I can ride around like that if I'm in a parking lot, if I need to go any slower. So I'll go ahead and go into second gear again. So I'm in second. Now I'll turn around right here and go into first. So to go into first, I'll do the same 3 moves. Off throttle, pull in clutch, kick down, off the clutch again, and give it some throttle. So let's say you're in second gear and you're coming to a stop. The way that you would do that is just when you, let's see, say this is the stop light or the stop sign. You will get off the throttle, pull in the clutch all the way, apply the front brake or rear brake, whatever you want to do. Come to the stop. Once you come to a complete stop like this, then you can kick all the way down into first gear, neutral, or whatever you want to do. Right now I'm in neutral, so I can take my hands off the bars and I can just wait for the light to turn green or turn on my stop sign. So I'll go ahead and show you that one more time. I'll be in third gear and I'll click all the way down to first. So let me get up to speed. I'm in second gear. I'm in third gear. And let's say I want to make a stop right before I get to these speed bumps. I will get off the throttle, pull in the clutch to kill the engine, start applying my brakes. Once I come to a stop, put my feet down and go ahead and kick all the way down to neutral or first or whatever you want to do. So there is different ways to brake. That's going to be the most basic way, and I think the best way to learn, especially starting off. Once you get more comfortable riding your bike, then you can experiment with downshifting to slow down first, and then get into neutral or first at a light or a stop sign, and then later on you can practice rev matching. Rev matching is another way to downshift that's going to be a lot smoother than just trying to get into that speed range. And then there's also engine braking, where you don't really apply any brakes. You don't apply the front or the rear. You kind of just let the engine do its thing. So you downshift and you let the engine just slow you down by itself. That's personally what I do, but it's a little more advanced for someone that's first starting off. So just practice the way I'm saying now, and once you get that, then you, like I said, you can start experimenting with other things. Just be careful and just know your limits. I can make a whole nother video talking about engine braking and rev matching, things like that, if I feel like I need to. The most basic way to stop is how I was saying. Just get into whatever gear you're at. If you're coming to a stop, just slow down, pull in the clutch, kill the engine, slow down to a complete stop, kick all the way down into first or neutral, and when you're ready to go again, just pop into first and get going like how you normally would. That's the easiest and most safest way, I believe, to first learn how to stop and go, especially when you're shifting. Because if you take the MSF course, you go into second gear and they teach you how to stop kind of the way I'm saying now. They don't really show you how to downshift. They don't show you how to do other things that you're probably going to learn later on whenever you do start riding your bike. So it's a best practice to just learn the basics and do the basics over and over and over. That way when you feel comfortable on your bike, then you can move up from there. So that's kind of basically everything that you need to know to ride a motorcycle. If you made it this far, then congratulations. You probably know somewhat what you're doing. And whether you bought a new bike, solo bike, or you're borrowing a bike, I hope these tips were able to help you learn more or less what you need to do in a situation when you're first riding a motorcycle, so that way you're not panicking too much. Pretty important to know these basic things, because these are things that they're going to go over as well. And if you want to have a lead on anybody in the class, you can watch this video and it will teach you more or less how to get started, so that way you're not completely lost. So I know there's a bunch of videos out there teaching you how to ride a motorcycle, but hopefully mine was helpful in any way if you weren't able to learn from anybody else. I really wanted to simplify this as best I can and just explain it in a way that would make sense to somebody that's never rode before. So if it did, please like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and leave a comment if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Like I said, hopefully this helped you out, and until next time, I'll be out.